Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. So usually I only do my Senate predictions as a weekly thing. However, this week has been there have already been enough changes that I can go on with this video. I can justify going on with this video. Um, Couple things to note since my video earlier in the week. Polling has changed in some states, obviously. Um, the whole Kavanaugh situation has been going on, which has all been very interesting. I was watching the Senate Judiciary Committee on tape delay, and I just finished that up, and that's kind of what made me think of this video. So, in any event, let's get started. So first, let's go. Well, another thing I want to say, there are four total changes. Um, some are shifting categories, others are shifting sides. It's been a pretty exciting week in politics, honestly. So in any event, let's get started. Uh, Likely Democratic, we have West Virginia. This is from the save column. The margins for Joe Manchin, I think he's still going to get reelected, but the margins weren't as big as I thought they were. And looking back, I probably shouldn't have put it in the save column. However, his margins are very, very good. Now we're going to skip over likely Republican because I see no states that are likely Republican right now. So we're just going to skip to leaning Republican. Texas. Ted Cruz and Beto is still tightening. They had a debate recently. I watched some of it. I found it interesting. Maybe it's just me, but it was a fairly heated debate. Um, but in any event, I still think that right now, Ted Cruz will pull through. North Dakota, I still think Kevin Kramer's been very consistent. He's been up by about 1.5% for a long time. So, as long as nothing crazy happens, I think that Kevin Kramer is a good shot at winning the election in North Dakota. Now let's go to leaning Democratic. Indiana, Joe Donnelly still stays in the leaning Democratic column. His races, the polls haven't been as tight as they were at one point, but it's still possible for him to lose. Any in the leaning, they're possible to lose, but I don't deem it very likely as of now. Arizona, Kristen Sinema, I was kind of rebounded from. This is gonna sound probably bad, but has kind of rebounded from the death of John McCain. Because after John McCain died, rest in peace, John McCain. It's still a sad thing to think about. But after he died, Martha McSally, for whatever reason, if it was directly related to McCain, I don't know. But after his death, Martha McSally started pulling closer and closer. And there were actually a couple polls where she was leading, but now Christian Cinema is starting to lead again. So that seems leaning Democratic as of now. Montana, I've switched over to the leaning instead of the likely Democratic column. I've had Montana as likely Democratic, I think, in every single video I've had so far. The reason why I'm doing this is because John Tester's race is tightening. And it could potentially change. The polls are getting closer and closer. I'm not saying he's going to get voted out, but don't don't rule it out. And Nevada, I'm moving over to the leaning column from the tilt column. I think the margins are big enough to justify um, the use of the leaning column versus the tilt column in Nevada at this point. Dean Heller probably, if I'm not a betting man, but I would probably bet against Dean Heller to win re-election. Not a very popular incumbent that's running for re-election. Now let's go over to the tilting states. Tilting Republican. Missouri is still tilting Republican. Missouri is going to be a close race. Um, and as of right now, the polls, there haven't been too many polls that have come out of Missouri. I would be interested to see them. But Josh Hawley's been at like a very slim lead. So if we're going by that, um, ties or anything worse is bad for the incumbent. So I see right now that could land in the Republican column. Um, Tennessee, I this is another state that hasn't really had that much polling. This state's still really close. However, there hasn't been too many numbers. Phil Bredesen and Marsha Blackburn are still at a tie, like a virtual tie, between the most recent polls. And it's not like they rank the same. On one poll, one was up 4, the other poll, one was up 4. And like stuff like that. And Tennessee's going to be a really close race, in a race that probably shouldn't be close. It should be a Republican landslide. However, due to lots of circumstances, it's not. And finally, the last flip into the Democratically tilting column is the state of Florida. So, when I did this video on Monday, the current governor of Florida and who is running, he was doing pretty well in the polls. He was winning by about 1%. Like it was getting tighter, but he was still ahead. Now it's flipped. Now the Democrat is up by around 1%. Obviously, none of the tilt states are final. Even the leaning states aren't final. But right now, I would say that would go slightly Democratic. And that means that the Senate would be a 50-50 tie and would be decided by the vice president, who would be Mike Pence. Which, if this would happen, I'm not 100% sure that this would be. So, let's take a look at the map. There's a lot. The Deep South has more blue now. Missouri, you can see all red. Montana State retains some of that blue. But in any event, thanks for watching this video. Comment down below what you think about the current landscape of things, any changes, and as always, future videos. Like, share, and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.